Yes, thank you, Xavier, and congratulations on keeping that so short. So without further ado, I would like to, for the closing remarks, to first pass the floor to the Vice President of TTA, Dr. Koo. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tonnie De Koster. My name is Mr. Koo. First of all, I always feel like that the 2 hours and a half hours is still very short to tackle this important issue. Anyway, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all of you for your efforts and hard work to make this workshop on EU-Korea cooperation continue, especially in Indico team, Mr. Javier and Ms. Mikhail. Actually, it is extremely meaningful that this fostering cooperation is the outcome and the follow-up events from first the EU and Korea high-level Polish dialogue on the digital economy via video conference back in November 2020. Maybe I think I remember that you also participated in the dialogue. Actually, this wouldn't be possible without the initiative of Indico project. So I'm very grateful to DG Connect and ETSI for that. Actually, we have held 5 cooperation workshops, including this. Since then, by doing so, both the EU and Korea share the precious information and the knowledge on the various topics, such as the today's topic beyond the 5G, 6G, and cybersecurity for IT, something like that. And when it comes to subject of today's workshop, I think that it is very productive and beneficial, especially updated information on SNS of the 6GIA and especially very impressive 2022 ETSI technical radar. I will look forward to seeing very soon. And we focus on the MEC and the RIS during a panel discussion. We have some key takeaway that are cross cooperation on RIS, because RIS is not mature in Korea. And another thing is the joint R&D approach between EU and Korea. As a last workshop, I would like to quote a conclusion from Mr. David Mossworthy. He also say same conclusion. There is important 3C: cooperation, communication, and coordination to move forward with the successful beyond 5G. Taking this opportunity, I would like to say something on ETSI. ETSI has been a valuable partner of TTA since back in 1999. We cooperate in several technology activity, among which you already 3GPP and 1M10 partnership project work highlighted. On behalf of TTA, I would like to take this opportunity to thank ETSI for one cooperation, especially Mr. Luis Jorge Romero, Secretary of General of ETSI, and then Mr. Adrian Scrase, CTO of ETSI. Last but least, to all speakers and panelists, thank you very much for joining and taking our time to be presenting today the precious workshop. And I wish our cooperation and endeavor continue through all of you and ICT expert here. Wishing you all the best. Thank you very much, Mr. De Koster. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Koo. You've already introduced him partly, so let me also do it. Your counterpart in the European Union, Dr. Adrian Scrase, who's the CTO at ETSI. Adrian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Casey, for the very kind words. Tony, you started this workshop by saying that global interoperable standards ensure global success. That was your opening phrase. And I think that's the single phrase that we always have to bear in mind when we talk about the evolution of 5G to 5G Advanced and 6G. For 5G, we are in the process of establishing a single global standard, and that's the first time in the history of mobile communications that we're actually managing to do that. And it's imperative, at least in my mind, that that we have that as our endpoint when we talk about 5G Advanced and 6G. On the positive side, we have a very strong community established, and we've heard from various speakers today that that community continues to increase, not just in number, but in diversity. We have now growing participation from the industry sectors that are hopefully the end beneficiaries of our work. We also have a very mature venue. Nearly everybody today has spoken about 3GPP as the target destination for the results of our collaborative research work. That seems to be at least the de facto venue where the detailed standardization should take place for 5G and then eventually for 6G. What remains to be done then is to ensure that we have a clear and concise path for research results into that standardization venue. And we know that if you take standardization results directly to a venue like 3GPP, it can be quite a difficult ride. You really need to pre-bake your results in the form of pre-standardization. And we've heard some excellent presentations of pre-standardization activities, particularly from MEC and from RIS. And they form two functions really. On the one hand, they make sure that the technology is mature for standardization, but they also build a community of interest and establish a critical mass so that when those results are presented to a body like 3GPP, the results are satisfactory. Coming then to both ETSI and TTA, as Casey has already said, we've been partners for decades now, so we know how to work together. We have a cooperation agreement that's been established. What really remains is for us to identify which of the candidate technologies for 5G Advanced and 6G would be suitable for collaborative building block work, and make sure that we fill that cooperation agreement we have with some life, and maybe look to see how we can collaboratively build these building blocks so that they do get the critical mass and are then well received at the time that we take them into a body like 3GPP. And then finally, may I also add my thanks to all of the participants for what I think has been a thoroughly enjoyable event and interesting and educational. So thank you to everybody who's taken and played their role. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adrian. So that brings me to the final concluding words. I mean, first of all, I would like to apologize, I think, on behalf of everybody who organized this for running slightly over time. But I, first of all, fully agree with Dr. Koot. I mean, 2 hours and a half and simply not enough to discuss a topic like this. And it showed the interest of the debate. And we didn't have enough, by far not enough time also to question and answer sessions, again, for which our excuses. But it shows that there is a lot of work ongoing, but also a path still to be outlined together to arrive at this common objective which we have of arriving at global interoperable standards to ensure these global successes of these technologies. I think that is the first conclusion which we can draw, that we have that common ambition between the EU and Korea. And we heard it, the opening session, we heard the public authorities. In the closing session, we heard two very senior representatives of our standardization bodies in Korea and the European Union. And we hear that there is, on both fronts, there is clearly very, very good cooperations. So I think we have done an important, we've added with the workshops which we've organized through Indico, we've added some substantial building blocks to enhance that cooperation between the public authorities, between the standardization bodies, between stakeholders on advanced 5G and beyond 5G, 6G. So there is still work on a common vision that is needed. I think that is really essential for us in the European Union, arriving at a common vision between global partners and a global timeline, a common global timeline. Those are very important elements. Having our stakeholders involved, working together, very much in the driving seat on the process is another important element for us. And I think, again, today's workshop proved that this is very much the case. The work is ongoing, people are talking to each other, and the ideas are being exchanged, and through workshops like this, we can bring our visions together and arrive at, I think that is the second conclusion which I would like to draw, that the ambition is for cooperation and complementarity rather than competition. I think, again, the workshop shows that there is global consensus between us on that. So we will continue as public authorities. Of course, it was already mentioned, we have a dialogue with the Korean authorities, with the ministry, which I'd like to thank very much, in particular also Mrs. Sewell for her participation, and we will pick it up from there and see what the next steps of this workshop can be. And I understand that TTA and ETSI have already their cooperation framework, and today's workshop has helped also contribute to the building blocks thereof. Final word to thank everybody who participated, because we had over 120 participants today, I understand, so that is definitely also a success, especially given that it's running now quite late in Seoul, for which our apologies, but notwithstanding that, people have been very actively following this. I'd like to thank, of course, all the organizers, in particular the ministry, Mrs. Sewell, also wishing her lots of wishes for happiness and a fruitful cooperation ahead. And of course, all the panelists, and last but not least, the colleagues in ETSI and in TTA, and of course, the interpreters. Many, many thanks. Have a very pleasant evening in Seoul, and a nice day in Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.